Welcome to Indiana News Desk. I'm Joe Wren. The National Alliance for Mental Illness says about 2 million people with mental illnesses are booked into jails across the country every year. But most counties aren't properly equipped to treat those people while they're in custody. As Barbara Brozier reports in part 2 of our series on jail overcrowding, the problem is especially big in Indiana.
This small church in Madison, Indiana, serves as a sanctuary to families in more than one way.
We get into how to communicate better with your loved one, learning resources.
The church started offering family-to-family classes from the National Alliance for Mental Illness, or NAMI, in 2013. That's how Pastor Jeff Flug and Rodney Sellers met. They both have family members with mental illnesses and say trying to help them can be a challenge.
You could have a person that is sick, you can't find a bed.
Sellers says it doesn't help that there's a general lack of awareness about mental illness, including among those who frequently come into contact with people who need help.
Most of the time, I've had police come, and they seem to, for the most part, have no idea what they're dealing with.
Flug says he's had similar experiences, and he considers himself lucky. Even when his son resisted arrest, police didn't take him to jail.
Instead, they took him to the hospital, and that was step one.
But that's not the case for many Hoosiers suffering from mental illnesses. Sheriffs across the state say an increasing number of them are ending up in county jails.
And I've had judges tell me, Sheriff, I have to ask you to hold this person because we don't know what to do with them. And if we release them, they're a danger to themselves or to somebody else in the community, and we can't afford that.
It's a tough spot for counties to be in because many of their jails are already overcrowded. While Vanderburgh County has a medical wing where it can house some inmates with mental illnesses, the resources are limited.
You need personnel and you need capital to fix the problem. You know, I would love to have a wing on the jail where I could put my acute mentally ill inmates upon incarceration and then have a staff that would work with them versus putting them in jail and stripping them of all their clothing because they threaten to hang themselves or they want to kill themselves.
The problem is even more urgent in smaller jails like Hancock County. On this particular day, 3 women who are on suicide watch are housed in a padded cell built for just one.
You have a male and a female both suicidal at the same time. What do? You pick the one that you really believe.
Oliver says building a new jail where there's more space for inmates would help. Plans for a new facility here include a therapeutic and a medical wing.
But mental illness is a serious thing that we're going to see for a long time coming, and we have to find ways to adapt to that. We have to find ways to help these people, and while they're incarcerated, more importantly, we got to make sure they stay safe.
Multiple studies show the rate of serious mental illness among incarcerated populations is 3 to 5 times higher than the general population. But some advocates question whether building bigger jails is the best solution.
When you have a county that already does not have any kind of response, any kind of community-based response to people who are in some kind of crisis or who need help, who could benefit from services, your jail becomes the only answer. And then when you continue to invest in newer and bigger jails, then that just reaffirms that jail is the only hammer when you have any number of nails or any number of problems you're trying to solve.
Sellers and Flug say that's not how it should be. They'd like the state to take a comprehensive look at ways to improve mental health resources, and not just in jails.
Law enforcement, God bless them, their hands are tied. They're not equipped for this. So it belongs in the hands of the state legislature and our mental health communities.
Reporter Barbara Brozier is here to tell us a little bit more. Barbara, are there any counties that are really trying to help with the mental health issue in their jails?
There are some counties that are actually trying to address the problem before people end up in jail. Monroe County, for example, has a mental health court that certain cases can go through as opposed to a regular court. And the way that that works is someone who goes through that court, they have to plead guilty, but they also sign an agreement saying that they'll participate in any case management and treatment that is ordered by the court, and eventually their case would be dismissed if they're successful in that court. The prosecutor says what that really does is it gets people out of jail sooner and it prevents them from cycling through the system.
A lot of criminogenic behavior is based on a mental health issue that's either unmedicated or just not regulated consistently. And so this sort of gives people the tools that they need to figure out how to get the treatment, how to stay on their medications, and therefore stay out of the criminal justice system.
But Joe, there are still some limitations. That court only takes felony cases, and it's only had 11 graduates so far. One of them did reoffend.
Now, what about police? Are there any efforts to help training in police in terms of handling these cases?
It really just depends on the department, but advocates say that's something that's really needed, that police and other first responders need to know how to handle people with mental illnesses. The Treatment Advocacy Center actually says people with untreated mental illnesses are 16 times more likely to be killed during a police encounter than others. Now, the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department is piloting this screening tool that they could use when they go out and respond to situations with someone who has a mental illness. And the tool is supposed to kind of guide them on how to best resolve those situations. It is just a pilot program at this point. Could be expanded, but it's something police know is a problem. It all comes down to money and whether they have money to make any changes.
All right, Barbara, thank you very much.